Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Christina Kent and I'm an oil painter based out of San Francisco. So recently I posted a video on creative blocks and how you can deal with it as an artist when you're feeling blocked. But today I want to talk about the, opposite of that issue that can also be really difficult, which is idea overwhelm. And just as a quick note, this video isn't sponsored by anyone, but if you want to support my work, you can purchase my paintings at my website below, you can join my Patreon, or you can share this video with a friend. All of these things really help. So I don't know about you guys, but for me as an artist, I feel like I'm either in one of two situations. Either I'm experiencing creative block where I have no ideas and no creativity, or I'm feeling idea overwhelm where I have just so many ideas that I don't even know what to do with them, and it's actually overwhelming where I don't even know where to start and I feel like there's no time, and I just feel a lot of stress and anxiety about trying to get everything done. And lately, to be honest, I've been a lot more in the idea overwhelm side of things than the creative block side of things. So I wanted to share some of the strategies that I've been using to try to manage the anxiety levels when I just feel like I have this flood of ideas. I think I never feel like I'm in a situation where it's like, wow, I have exactly as many ideas as I have time to execute them. This is a perfect match. It's always either like, oh my gosh, I have no ideas and I'm really depressed, or I have so many ideas and I'm super anxious. And I think idea overwhelm can feel particularly difficult for artists like me who have a day job, or artists who have another very big, important, maybe it's a caregiving responsibility or something in their lives, where we only have a really small sliver of time each day or each week to work on our art. Because then we feel like we really need to make that time matter and make the best art that we can in that time slot. For me, I do a lot of studio paintings where I use photo references, and I have this album on my phone where I have a lot of photos that have inspired me, and when I go to the studio to paint, usually I'll look at some of those photos and try to decide which one I want to turn into a painting. But sometimes I'll see so many photos that are sparking inspiration and I won't know which one to choose. I'll be trying to find the best one to make the painting for that day, and I'll be looking through it and I just can't decide. I get completely overwhelmed by all the options, and knowing that I have such a limited amount of time, it just kind of increases my anxiety, and then I end up wasting a lot of time because I'm going through all these options trying to figure out which one is the best one, and then by the end of the hour or whatever time I have allocated to paint, I realize that I haven't even painted one, I haven't even decided on the idea because I was completely paralyzed by all the options, and then I ended up running out of my studio time and haven't painted anything. And when you're working a day job or you're doing something else and you have really limited time to paint, these sort of situations can be so frustrating because your studio time just feels so precious. So then, not only am I anxious about all the ideas that I want to create, but at the same time, I feel guilty that I spent the whole time trying to figure out the right idea and ended up not painting anything and sort of wasted a studio session. So as you can see, all these feelings can come together in this just negative spiral that really doesn't help me make any art and just makes me sad. So how do I overcome idea overwhelm? The first thing I did was to recognize that inspiration is infinite. I don't know if we can validate this in any way, but I really think that inspiration and our imaginations are infinite. I think that we can come up with an unlimited number of ideas for our art. I think as long as I live, as long as I'm going through the world, I'll continue coming up with new ideas. And I don't think I'm ever gonna get to the point where it's like, yes, that was my last idea and I'm done painting. And I think there's even this snowball effect where the more we paint, the more ideas we have. So it's not like we can create a list of ideas and then paint all of them and then be done with it. Like, as we paint those ideas, we'll start getting more and more ideas. So the list is just gonna get longer and longer and longer, probably faster than we can paint it. And that's awesome. I think I would choose idea overwhelm over art block any day, because feeling creatively blocked is the worst. So I like to recognize that I think it's a fact of life that if we're creating, if we're making things, if we are following the artistic path, we're always going to have more ideas than we can create. And that's okay, and it's actually good. And I think if you have a day job or another reason why you're not doing art full time, it can be easy to fall into this trap of thinking that, oh, well, if I was doing art full time, then I would be able to make all of my ideas happen. But I don't think this is true. I don't know many full-time artists, but I think if I asked them this question, they would say the exact same thing, that they have more ideas than they have time for. And recognizing this fact helps prevent me from putting the blame on things like my day job or other responsibilities in my life for my feelings of anxiety and overwhelm. It also forces me to deal with the issue now rather than putting it off into some vague future where I think, well, when I'm a full-time artist, then I won't feel overwhelmed and anxious in this way. No, it forces me to recognize that I need to deal with these feelings right here and right now. Another thing I like to do when I'm feeling overwhelmed by all these ideas is actually to practice gratitude for all of the creativity that I'm feeling in the moment. I think back to moments when I was feeling creatively blocked and how sad and dark those times can be and how it feels when you don't have ideas flowing. And that helps me appreciate all the ideas that I have. It sort of puts the whole situation into perspective. Like, yes, having too many ideas can provoke anxiety, but it's a lot better than having no ideas at all. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you get the dessert menu and all of the desserts look absolutely amazing and you just can't choose. And then you get stressed about it because you're like, well, which one do I want? I mean, it's a good problem to have. If you're in a situation where you have too many ideas, I hope that you can reframe that as a good thing because it's a lot better than having no ideas. Okay, so I recognize that imagination is infinite and that there are just an infinite number of ideas out there. I've put my anxiety a little bit into perspective by comparing it with my feelings when I'm feeling blocked. So what do I do next? The next thing I like to do when I'm having these feelings of idea overwhelm is I like to remind myself that I don't have to make every idea happen. It is not my responsibility to bring to life every single idea. And I think where I experience some issues with this is my own issues with perfectionism, because the perfectionist part of me has a bunch of ideas and wants to do every single one. The perfectionist says you have to make every idea happen. You have to, I almost see it as like these ideas are listed on my to-do list and I need to check off every single box. But that's just not true. It's not true and it's not reasonable to expect of myself. And I know that when you have a lot of great ideas, every single one can feel like your baby. And having to choose between different creative ideas can be really, really hard when you see every single idea with that much love and care. So for me, I like to pause a little bit and just take some distance and remind myself that these are just ideas and I don't have to do every single one. And that means that sometimes I let some ideas go forever. In fact, a lot of times I'll have an idea, but I won't have the time or space to make it happen, and I end up just letting it go. Other times though, I'll have an idea and it really sticks with me, and even if I don't choose to do it in the short run, it kind of comes back again and again and again, and finally I make it happen. And I've just decided to believe, to make it easier on myself, that the really important ideas will stick with me. So now I've gone through the mindset shifts that I like to make when I'm feeling really overwhelmed by ideas. But then how does that work in practicality? Now what do I do when I get to my studio? I'm happy to say that I no longer spend hours agonizing over which reference photo I want to use for my painting. Now when I go to my studio, I open up my album of reference photos and I give myself 5 minutes to pick a photo. And oftentimes on a given day, there will be one photo that kind of stands out to me more than the others. But if not, if I really can't pick, if there's no photo that's really calling me out that day, I'll just choose randomly. I'm no longer concerned with trying to optimize my creative process and pick the perfect photo every time. Instead, I focus on picking out an idea quickly and then getting right to painting. And the result is that I end up creating a lot more of these ideas and making a lot more paintings than I ever did before. So those are my best tips when you're dealing with idea overwhelm. I hope you found some of these tips helpful if you're in a similar situation where you just have way too many ideas and you're feeling really anxious about making them all happen. It's great if you have so many ideas, but don't worry about making them all happen. Whatever you do is enough. And if you have tips on how you like to handle idea overwhelm, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Anyway, I really hope you found this video helpful. And as always, a huge shout out to my supporters on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and thank you so much for making these videos happen. If you like my art, if you like my videos, and you want to help me make more, check out my Patreon at the link below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.